Hi there, I'm Amy Spropoulos. We are rocking out on this fabulous day, even though it's a little rainy outside.
Yeah,
Dr.
yeah,
Storts,
yeah.
Dr. Ken Storts with Visible
Yes,
Music College
yes.
is with us this morning, and we are so excited because today, Doctor, we are talking about the community aspect of
Yes.
Visible Music College. And, it's so fabulous because we live in such a great community,
Yeah.
and it's so important that Visible be part of that community. So let's
Right,
talk
right.
about that.
Well, that's thank you.
Yes,
It's my favorite subject.
I
Visible
love it.
started off from the concept of Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who wrote he's a German martyr in the 40s,
Right?
and he Christian martyr, and he wrote about the visible community, which is the church being salt and light outside the walls of the church.
I love that.
So
Wow.
they had a community of people who lived together in Germany that was around theology and prayer and worship, and they were impacting the world through just the way they would outreach beyond the walls of that small community. And
Wow.
so that's the visible community is what he talks
Yeah.
about, and so that's where we got our name.
And isn't it interesting because music, I have heard people say this, and I think I've even heard you say it over the years, but music is kind of that universal language that we speak. And you
Yeah.
see, even when infants, even before infants are
Right.
born, I mean, I know when I was pregnant with all three of my children, my doctor actually said, play music
Right.
and let your baby hear the music. And sometimes if I was lucky, Dr. Storts, I could hear, I could feel little baby dancing because
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is a universal language.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we all respond to music. That's part of my music is important blog, talking every week about
Yes.
music's an important part of life. It's important. Creativity is an important part of community when you're with people.
Right.
Imagine that you just were alone and it's just you talking and you thinking and your stuff. You never get to interact with one another and
Yeah.
the creativity that's drawn out by people being together. And
Absolutely.
so,
And it's so interesting because let's talk a little bit about the music college, the training video and film producers. I mean, that is a
okay.
very integral aspect of Visible. So let's talk
Yes.
about that.
Yes, well, music culture today, you are not just writing a song and getting signed to a record deal and now you're famous.
Right.
It's a lot of work branding yourself, building a team, and having folks around you that are creative in a community around you. So that's why the college is so important because we are designed like that for that community aspect. And the people that have the visual picture of how things should look and design and shooting and lighting and stage, all those kind of things, those people are vital for any artist these days
Yes.
as a part of the team. So we train them as a team at the college.
That's so cool because there's never just one artist. There's the all of the other aspects of that artist that help.
Right.
And the branding is so how important is that?
Well, it's huge these days. It's what's really been great has the music industry has kind of crumbled down to this wide, thin layer. Everybody can get in now because you can just do your video, drop it on
Right
like
here.
this live on
Absolutely.
Live with Dr. Ken.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't submit anything to us, but no, you can. But so there's everybody can get in, but to get noticed, you have to have some kind of plan and strategy and people around you that are creative with you. And you
Yes.
can't imagine that you are the only one that has ideas about how you should appear in every single platform, and you need a team to work together on that. So
Yeah. And it's a beautiful thing because the team helps really elevate and build the musician to where they have a very successful following and have fans and things like that.
right, right. And I encourage people to just talk to friends who they're on their phone and they're shooting stuff all the time. Like they don't know yet that they're good at filming or
Yeah.
any kind of storytelling. But just like somebody who strums a guitar, you don't know you're good yet at songwriting. Just when you have a community, you can kind of, it's not just me with my ideas about song. It's you with you like to film stuff. So now let's just practice doing this together.
I love
And
that.
as we're together, we both get better at it.
Yeah, and talk a little bit about the pastoral ministry aspect of the whole thing, because that is
Yeah.
a very important key
Yeah.
that kind of unlocks the door, if you will, to the whole thing.
Yes, and that's another big part about Visible Music College is built around a spiritual community of
Yes.
people who are one mindset and worship together and live together, and training those people who are pastoral, who have that sort of they get in a room with creative people and they're like, that person's needs some help, or they need a little bit of encouragement, or they
Right.
need their life is going so good that they need help. It's not
Yeah.
really just always dealing with problems, but just you also at a young age when you're becoming a college student, you might not know, hey, I'm that pastoral person.
Wow.
But it's you might not think of yourself as a pastor,
Yeah.
but you may be. You're the one who thinks ahead of what taking care of people, what needs to happen.
Right. So thinking outside of the box, maybe, and maybe there is something that is out there for you that you just haven't realized yet.
Right. Just it's your innate gifts that we would like to see at Visible. The person who's performing, the person who's capturing it, and the person
Right.
who's
Right.
caring for those who are doing it.
And how do those people actually work with the musicians to make the music come to fruition?
Well, they in any team, even outside the college, there needs to be somebody who's doing the planning and the strategy and caring for somebody to get them in a place to be creative.
Okay,
So
okay.
that's part of your team. When you're young, it's maybe your momager.
Your momager. I
you know,
love that. I love that.
but
Or
then-
dadager.
That's right. The editors, yeah. And once that kind of plays out, which is fairly soon, you need somebody who's caring for you and setting things up and working. And later on, you call that your personal manager. You have your business manager and your personal manager.
Yeah, that's awesome. And let's talk too now about shifting a little bit about jobs that students are aiming for in these programs and things like that.
The jobs are in church media, indie film, music videos. You could be part of a creative team at a church, at a maybe a club or entertainment complex.
Right.
It's more and more design, and you could do web media stuff like that.
Graphics.
Graphic design.
Okay.
Or even you can kind of fall in love with the technical side behind the scenes. Churches is a good example.
It is.
Visible points towards it, but also it is I would guess the fastest growing media need is Sunday morning. It's a big part of the culture now.
Right.
But of course, just everyone needs web presence. Businesses need web presence, and
Yeah.
if you're good at that kind of thing, you find your niche.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that too, because I think, okay, we're just in the Memphis area. Let's talk about this is typically known as the Bible Belt. Okay. So we're talking about some mega churches, Mississippi Boulevard, Hope. We've got Broad Avenue. We've got Brown Baptist that's in South Haven. So, I mean, now the reality is, and we've really we've realized how important this is through the COVID pandemic.
Yes.
Because so many people just, because of this have not really felt comfortable going to church. So the churches have realized how important it was to have a creative team to do all this. And they've really realized, wow, this is where it at. Because would you agree, Doctor, that there is an entire generation of people out there that they can really pull in to the churches thanks to Facebook Live, Instagram, Twitter,
Yeah.
blah. I mean, I could go on for days.
Yeah, and they're going to have to figure out how to keep those folks and invite them and engage them to the actual real world experience of being in a community, to bring it full circle.
Yes.
When you come to a church, or even if you're on an online community at a church,
Right.
you can pretty easily just leave anytime you want with a click of a button, right? So
That's true.
that's part of building that community and engagement with actual human beings. And
Yeah.
as you get out of your teen years and you're involved in a community, that's what we're also training students to do is, hey,
That's so
not just
awesome.
how do you be here at Visible, but how do you be in community? You
Yeah.
have to listen to other people that might have some different opinions, which is hard to do these days.
Yeah.
That's something that we just, as we work on, we build community together. And
Absolutely. And let's talk a little bit about why a music college as opposed to another college? I mean, why let's talk about that too.
Well, the to me, the creative process and that team that you build
Yes.
around music people, it is a more natural place to
Absolutely.
build community and sort of, maybe some emotion, feelings and stuff are involved. But rather, at a business school, you might not say, hey, let's build a little happy community. Business school, it's like, hey, let's build a structure and get things done.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
we're getting things done, obviously, in the music side and the creative side, but it's a pretty natural place as a Christian music school and
Right.
as a creative school. These teams have to be creative and play off one another and get
Absolutely.
along.
Yes.
Um,
And to brag on Dr. Storrs, he doesn't even know I'm about to say this, but to brag on him a little bit, you experienced this firsthand
Yeah.
with what you did through Skillet.
yeah, that's why I started Visible. It was like, this is really needed. All these other bands that are out there really struggling and really, maybe their impact was not what they would love for it to be,
Right.
because they didn't really have that church community around and behind them like
Right.
Skillet did. And so that's why that was the idea. It's like, hey, they don't just need education, they don't just need experience, they need a spiritual community around them
Yes.
to
Yes.
kind of get out of their brain of this just me and get into the we. More it's us.
I love
doing
that.
this.
Get out of your brain and think we more
Yeah.
than me. And you so I wanted to ask you that, Dr. Storts, because you have experienced that firsthand of how important it is to have a team around you of people
Yes.
that can lift you up.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. I had a pastor that reached out and challenged me in a time when I was able to hear it, thankfully, and adjust my life to be in a group of people and be serving in a way,
Right.
serving each other.
Yes.
And without that pastoral help, I probably would have just gone on to try to make it on my own and crashed and burned eventually. And
Right.
so the team is super important. That's what we focus on.
Absolutely. So next kind of obvious question, if people are looking to get involved in Visible, if someone watching this morning says, I've got a student, that a daughter or son that I really think would like to take their craft to the next level, can they do that?
No. Yes. Yes, everybody just died in admissions. Yes, you can definitely be involved at Visible. I mean, just come check out the website, visible.edu.
Yes.
But we have events and a lot of music every week, and
Yeah.
so many welcoming people. They can
It's
be involved
fabulous.
in any of the sides of the music business, being a creator, being a
Yeah.
pastoral person, or being behind the camera.
Absolutely.
story, so.
Yeah. And when you have an opportunity, to me, when you have an opportunity to learn from people like Dr. Ken and the team that he has around him, I mean, it's just, you don't get, I remember growing up and knowing I always wanted to be in TV. And I would sit in front of the TV, and watch the evening news and things like that. And I got the schooling, but I remember someone telling me early on, nothing can beat hands-on experience. Would you agree with that?
Nothing can be. I'm not sure.
Well, I'm sorry.
Nothing can beat it. Oh,
Yes,
yes.
nothing
yes,
can beat
that's
it.
Exactly.
Yes,
yes,
yes.
That's exactly what we do at Visible. Is that
Exactly.
you build that cohort of folks together, learning what they need to learn, and then experiencing the project
Yes.
or the hands-on stuff
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
It's the way to learn. I mean, nothing can beat it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Nothing can beat it. And you know what? Nothing can also beat a conversation with the press at this. Woo! I almost feel like I need to play the drums or something. Hey, thanks so much for joining us. And this is going to be a weekly deal with Dr. Ken, Dr. Storts, Visible Music College. We're making our mark in Memphis, and we hope you join us along the way. Y'all have a great day.